Like if I tweet or hashtag about how you didn't do something right or used the wrong verb, or then I can sit back and feel pretty good about myself because, man, you see how woke I was? I called you out.
We should really rethink carefully the desire to blow up somebody else's life simply because we disagree with them. A pluralistic democracy demands that we have debates without becoming disagreeable. We have to realize that when you call people out in anger or as a public performance of their humiliation, you actually decrease the chances for accountability. Because why would anybody ever want to admit to a mistake if they're going to be subjected to a mob in a frenzy of people calling them out? Calling in is really a call out done with love. So you're still seeking to hold people accountable for even the unintended harm that they did, but sometimes the harm is intentional. And so you want them to be accountable, but you're doing it by offering love and grace and respect instead of anger and grandstanding. So I offer people startup sentences like, I beg your pardon. Did I hear you say what I think you heard? Or that sentence didn't quite land on me the way I think you meant. Can we go have coffee and talk about it? You have to learn a lot of startup sentences if you stop, pause, take a deep breath before you overreact to something that discomforts you or alarms you. In my 20s, I was a rape and incest survivor, and yet I learned to work with men who were incarcerated for raping and murdering women. And it was by sharing my story of the violences I had experienced as a child that I got them to tell their stories about the violences that turned them from kids into murderers and rapists. In my 50s, 40s and 50s, I monitored hate groups with the National Anti-Klan organization. And I learned that I had to learn to call in people who had been in hate groups that we were helping to deprogram. And literally, when a girl can't hate the Klan, I mean, who's left? And so I learned that I had to see the humanity under the robes or beneath the swastikas. And so those were practices. I have no problem calling out mean people. Like I have no problems calling out President Trump, for example. I have no problem calling out people who intentionally hurt people, or they're using their unmarked or unnoticed privilege to punch down on people. But I'm more focused on what we do as a human rights movement to each other who are on the same team in the human rights movement. We don't need to be punching sideways against our other team members simply because they don't perfectly align with us as if we're all in a cult.